I'm just trying to find... Yeah, there we go. I hope you're having a wonderful day. This is the grand finals from the Basilisk StarCraft's 25th anniversary Big Brain Bouts special. So basically last week on Friday, Basilisk ran a $2,500 open cup. Double elimination. We cast it at the time, and we didn't cast the grand finals because it got very late into the night, and we ended up moving the grand finals to the next day. I already had an event when this was then, newly scheduled to play, and so we didn't cast this at the time. So this is what we're going to start the day off, casting these few replays. This is a best of 7, and the series starts with a 1-0 lead for the red Zerg in the bottom right corner, Serral, because he came from the winner's bracket, while in the top left, Blue Protoss is MaxPax. He came from the lower bracket. So it's a best of 7. A best of 7 with a 1-0 lead for the player from the winner bracket to give them a little bit of an advantage. So that's cool. Serral was an absolute beast in the upper bracket. MaxPax fell down and fought his way through that lower bracket late into the night, taking down Bjorn and Clem, and a lot of great players along the way. We'll see if he can contest Serral in this best of 7. Obviously, it's always a bit weird when we kind of say it's game 1, but then it's a 1-0 lead. So just ignore me if I'm interchanging the fact that this is game 1 or game 2. There's like one point in the series where I basically get to this stage and I'm like, hey, it's game 3 and it's like 2, it's 1-1 or something. I feel like it's after the first 2 games. Like after the first 2 maps, my brain just defaults to saying it's game 4 when it's 2-1, for example. Whereas before then, I'm like, it's game 1, even though it's 1-0. You know what I mean? So, apart from that, let's enjoy the games. Like I said, that should be as confusing as it gets. That should be as difficult as it gets today. As we get this started up, we do have a Stargate already on the way from MaxPax. So getting that built up and ready to go here. So, getting that started. A couple lings are going to split across over the right-hand side. We do see the Zergling speed is starting up from Serral. Of course, he represents Basilisk as well. The team, shout out to Basilisk. $2,500 one-night event is pretty darn nutty. It's not every day you get events like that, so that really is pretty darn nutty if I do say so myself. It was a great time as well. We had so much fun casting the event, and that's why I was definitely eager. Obviously, Serral MaxPax, a great reason to cast the finals anyway, but was especially eager to cast the finals knowing that the event itself had been so much fun, had been so awesome, and yeah, there was just a lot of a lot of happy people on that day. A lot of people had fun playing, even if they got knocked out early and stuff as well. So in general, it was just a pretty good time as our Adept comes through and will knock away at a single drone, looking for some others as we do drop triple Spore Crawler down. And they are going to end up cancelling, however, so they get cancelled out. And just seeing the couple of drones going to get back to mining on the natural mineral line. Zergling speed is already finishing up on the side of Serral as well. It's just getting that ling speed finished, and obviously a Stargate Oracle opening from MaxPax, playing it pretty standard to start. Expecting to mix it up as the series goes on, probably into like a Glaives here or there, like sneak a couple of more aggressive builds in. Would be kind of surprised if we didn't see that from MaxPax, because MaxPax is that, exactly that kind of player who absolutely does hammer that kind of stuff home a lot of the time. So expecting MaxPax to be a pretty big part of this, and in terms of just deciding where the games go. Now, Serral is not the sort of player to just sit back and do whatever either. Serral has also been a player as of late to be very active, very busy, just kind of dictating the start of games a lot as well. So I suppose we'll see how this goes. Just going to see our Oracles, a couple of them coming down this right side. Twilight Council and the Forge both coming up, as well as the Nexus is, again, about halfway through. A couple extra probes are coming out, and we do see 2 Queens just going to latch themselves straight onto the Oracles there. It's just going to be able to turn those away up that right side. And the Oracles really like to try and jump on top of 1 or 2 of these mineral lines, but the defense is pretty good. We do find a separated Queen here, but that was not quite the play in the end, as the Oracles just get pushed straight on back away from it, so actually not able to find anything apart from taking damage for no real reason, which is obviously not quite ideal. As these 2 Adepts jump in, and they are going to get a few drone kills, so 4 drones going down. Finally, our first bit of action on the map, right? We've had 5 drones now killed in the game, and these 3 Adepts went down. It's just been pretty slow going in terms of getting anything happening because the Oracles have been well defended. Like I say, Serral not going to let an opening come on by. There's a few queens come across to the left. Just going to go push the oracles away to that left side too. A few lings just going to nibble through a stalker. That'd be really bad if the lings got in. There's an oracle here that obviously can try and dissuade them, but Serral seems to think he's going to go in no matter what, which I don't disagree with. The oracle will burn energy while chasing those lings down. The two oracles over here will get a queen at least, so MaxPax finding something. Kind of is like a testament to the defense, though, when all you can really find in these attacks is queens, and even, because queens take a long time to get rid of, and they're not exactly what the oracles want to get rid of. They want to slow this game down by, killing off drones and hurting economies. We kill one queen here, and that didn't even come for free, because in the end, an oracle went down for it. So Serral defending very well, getting decent trades out of all of this. Get this underway. Lings come through, just going to go and nibble at that Nexus, and that will be a cancel. That's just going to get cancelled up. We're going to place that down once again. And our Ling's going to go running out over to that left-hand side. Blink coming through, the +1 armor on the way up as well. Just seeing the, again, attack upgrade also continuing as we have extra Stalkers warping in. I blink about halfway done, our armor upgrade getting started as well. Robo facility and a couple more cannons will producing from MaxPax, and our battery about to finish as well. We will have Hive already coming out from Serral. So get that Hive on the way. We will drop another Oracle down. We've just got these few Lings running through. We're going to go grab a probe as well. So just going to nab that. Come all the way up to this top side. We're going to get rid of a couple of Stalkers as well. Just getting surround on those. And just seeing the Robo facility about to finish up on the third base on top of everything else. Stalkers push forward. The blink is about to be done, so MaxPax will keep the aggression coming as we get to the front and see what we might be able to get up to here with our Overlord going down. Again, lost in the game so far. One Oracle. There's a few units as well. Obviously, losing 5 probes is kind of brutal when you've not really been super active yourself. Like, losing the same amount of probes as drones really doesn't bode well for you as the Protoss player. Usually, you want to be a little bit more in control when it comes to the amount of workers killed on either side. As this prism works its way down the right-hand side, there's a Robo Bay that's going to be finishing up in a moment. Observer is coming out. I'm just going to see the Stalkers are just going to retreat away with Lings and Roaches hunting those Stalkers down. Double Banelings roll into some Stalkers over here as well, and that should be pretty well defended. So Serral will not find much on the counter-attack, which is noteworthy because obviously one of the ways that these matches can get away from you as the Protoss player is to let those Banes keep on running into your mineral lines. Then you really can run into a lot of trouble sometimes, so definitely something to try and steer clear of as our Squawk Crawler gets a few shots off in the Prism. Things going to wrap around on those few Zealots as well. Roach is coming by. That's a good defense from Serral again, not really letting MaxPax do anything, and I think that's really the tale of this first game where you've just been basically non-stop as MaxPax denied doing as much as you want to. That's what makes Serral so good and so difficult to play against. That's why he's not quite like any other Zerg, because his defense really is so resilient. And a lot of the times when you see like a Zerg or any player, he's just so good defensively. It's so hard to find someone who can then also identify just amazing ways to attack and amazing ways to kind of, sniff out advantages and play those too. And obviously that's one of the great things about watching Serral play is he really is just so well-rounded. He can kind of do it all, so kind of seeing that showcase a little bit in this game as we see MaxPax. I love this. Taking this kind of move out, one Colossus isn't a lot, but it's enough to work your way through a few Lings. He took this forward base, so he wants to be aggressive throughout this game as well. And as those Lings come through, going to grab a few Zealots. We do see the Banelings making their way to this mineral line. 5 probes, and that's about it. MaxPax's defense also pretty good as of late. Once these Banes start hitting multiple mineral lines, you got to make sure you don't lose too much, and I'd say so far he's making a pretty decent showing of that. As we blink back here, can we have enough to keep this base alive? As a Roach, a Ravager, Ling seem to have enough numbers to maybe stand there for a while, but 2 Colossi does get to the point where, of course, it's very difficult to justify still fighting into 2 Colossi because they're going to just start doing so much splash damage. And MaxPax, as he gets 2 more Colossi in production, is also starting up Storm, so he's looking toward a future in this game outside of the Colossi as well. As our +2 armor continues through, coming up to finishing shortly. And again, our Storm is going to be on the way up. A couple more cannons also coming out as well, and a few pylons also being built from MaxPax. So all that's coming through. We see a few banelings are going to run around to the top corner, and we do have our army just settling in the middle as well. Our oracles will be keeping an eye on things. We do see our Colossi going to start firing up. A lot of these lings getting taken away once again. Just Serral going in multiple places. That's what Serral's also good at. And MaxPax defending pretty well in the third base by pulling the workers away. He's not going to have enough here, though. This time, this round of attack from Serral is just a little bit too much. Maybe MaxPax trying to do too much. +2 armor not finished, Storm not finished. A game where, in the end, he's been kind of the one that has been bullied. I mean, he had a good defense throughout, honestly. Like, he actually had pretty good defense throughout MaxPax as well. It slipped a little early game, and I think that's what it came down to. The early game was just, you know, he really didn't do enough, while Serral got a little bit more done than he should. And those kind of edges can just go a long way, especially on a map like Dragon Scales, which is pretty aggressive in nature too. Once Serral got set up to a high drone count, he just kept on firing with, you know, a set of units after set of units, setting up a run by while hitting the front. Obviously, eventually MaxPax just breaks down there, and that is game 1. 2. We're going to start this one off in the bottom right-hand corner, where we have, now down 0-2, our Blue Protoss player looking to start a mount and a comeback. It's MaxPax. And in the top left, our Red Zerg from Basilisk, Serral. Happy Fake Friday. Yeah, a lot of people off tomorrow, so the weekend is kind of already beginning. Even, you know, it's a day to take off when even I'm taking the day off, guys. Hope you guys, if you do get a chance to take it off, have a good time. And otherwise, I hope your work day ain't so bad, and I hope the rest of your weekend is great. Like I said, guys, I won't be streaming tomorrow. I'm taking, like I said, a little day off. A little family day out. Me, Helen, and Ellie. It's going to go on a little wander somewhere different. Enjoy what may be some not quite completely freezing weather. So, yeah, that's me. And we're busy, by the way, guys. So, here's a little story just as this PvZ gets started. But yesterday, while the new doors have been put on and I wasn't streaming, what I did do was I did a lot of planning and scheduling and, you know, figuring out of when other events are happening so I can figure out when my own events are going to be. And holy bejeebus, there are so many StarCraft things happening. Like, I scrolled down my schedule, like, so I showed Helen my schedule. This is a great example of how busy it is. I showed Helen my schedule on my phone after I'd updated it, and she was like, holy crap, you're going to be so busy. And then it updated to add in everything that I'd been working on throughout the day. And I think she was like, wait, am I ever going to see you again? Like, are we going to talk again before, like, September? So yeah, it's busy, guys. There are so many events. Obviously, you know, ESL Masters is starting up. WardiTV events are continuing. WardiTV spring season starts officially in the next few days. We're actually going to try and have an event at the start of next week. Just a little one to start building up some point gathering activities for players who would like to start grabbing points for the spring season of the WardiTV event. So there's just a lot going on. It's going to be super busy, which is awesome if you're a StarCraft fan. We're going to have loads of StarCraft 2 for you to watch. I was also scheduling up the next couple of seasons of WardiTV Korean Royale. And I was just trying to make them kind of be between GSL seasons while also trying to avoid, like, you know, big events like DreamHack where people might not want to participate in an online tournament because DreamHack's coming up, for example. So, yeah, I've been kind of just doing all that scheduling, and obviously everything's kind of penciled in at the moment because in the world of StarCraft, things just show up sometimes, and my tournaments are the ones that are generally disregarded and seen as flexible, so people just run stuff over them. But in general, this penciling in has been done, and I feel like there's so much going on. There's a couple overloads popping out, link speed coming through. Get back to this game. Our first 2 to 3 minutes of nothing happening in PvZ is now set up with the Twilight Council finished. That's a Twilight first. We're going to immediately roll into Resonating Glaives to start things out. And yo, a couple shout-outs as well. Agony in Austin, thank you so much for the 2-month resub on the Prime. And Wafshed coming in with the Prime sub as well. Thank you so much for the generosity, guys. Appreciate you dropping the Prime on the channel. Thanks for supporting the stream today in what will be this little 3-hour cozy relaxed, chilled out little stream we got going on. Robot facility coming up, couple of gates coming through, Roach Roar and Eva hatchery and a lair all coming up as well. The extra drones are producing on the side of Serral. And let's just have our Resident Glaives chrono boosting away. And we'll be finishing up very shortly. So again, that Glaive's completed. A Robo coming out as well. A couple of Adepts, our Stalker just coming to the front. 3 more Adepts warping in. And we'll get ready to rock and roll in the next few moments as our Adepts are going to shade out through to the center. Roach speed coming up, Rexer Roach is coming through, Robo Bay is on the way out from MaxPax as well, so getting a little bit of extra tech mixed in here as well. An opening, obviously the Glaives into the Robo Bay. I've always liked it, kind of, you know, you get aggressive with the Adepts, then you get the Disruptor drops on the way out. It's just like very high impact. I guess it's just because there's a lot going on. Because first you got the Adepts, which even here may not do a lot, but they're still on the map, they're still a threat. And then you can get into that Disruptor follow-up, which obviously with Prism speed and so on can be very fun, watching those Disruptors try and drop around the map, etc. Very excited as our Adepts will just shade over the upper left again. I'm just going to be seeing the cancellation of that because you do not want to go shade into everything. It is indeed going to be Prism speed, which I think is kind of a given when you see that Disruptor play on the way up. As the Prism loads up a few Adepts running away over the right-hand side, in fact, trying to get out of there. One of them will go down, and the Queens get into the main base to deny the Prism, get pushed back through the top. This Roach is just going to continue to chase. 2 Adepts already being picked away at. And again, Lings and Roaches still settled down in the middle of the map. An Evolution Chamber on the 3rd base as well. And 7 more drones are about to finish. Does Roach speed upgrade also increase on grip? Yes, it does. Roach speed is pretty good, as we do see this Nexus is just dead. I mean, there's Disruptors here, they just weren't on the low ground yet, so that's kind of costing you a few moments that, yeah, might actually have a bit of an impact. So, as you can see, this 3rd base goes down, and well, to be fair, Serral didn't take any damage initially from the Adepts, so I guess it's expected, perhaps, that he can get some kind of counter-push going and do well with it. He does exactly that for the moment here. This Disruptor Shock just goes on a Morphing Ravager, I believe that was. 57 gas on the refund, must be a Ravager. So just grabs that with the Disruptor, but otherwise pretty inactive. You know, you'd probably be expecting more than this with the Disruptors so far. And that's obviously just not being the case right now. We'll see now if we can find something. I think it's, again, just a question of how much has MaxPax really achieved here. You know, he's lost 9 Adepts now, and you know, these Roaches are going to delay his 3rd again, and I actually feel like MaxPax is going to end up in a very troubled situation. This is starting to look way worse for him than it ever really started out being. Like, this Disruptor shot could be really cool. Serral notices it, and we don't have Blink yet, so these Stalkers can't chase easily. It's going to be part of the problem as well, as the Disruptors turn back into the middle of the map and work their way up to the top. As we have our few extra Stalkers about to finish. +1 attack upgrade building on the side of MaxPax. And our Queens just hitting that Prism down. Honestly getting a lot done to it as our hatchery comes set and sets up. Over on the left here, we do have our +1 missile upgrade about halfway done. The Ravager's still coming up. Our Lings are still producing as well. And extra drones will producing out as well. It's just going to be seeing 7 more drones coming in. These few Lings trying to run at the front as well will not be able to do too much. The melee upgrade coming in, the infestation pit starting. Going to drop a contamination with the Overseer that's going to clog up the robotics facility. So, not that anything was immediately producing from that anyway, but it does stop, you know, stuff such as these extra Disruptors from popping out than, you know, what MaxPax already had. So, yeah, I mean, it's not a bad thing. It hits. MaxPax is just in trouble, though. You know, again, a game where he didn't really do enough early, and Serral has found a lot of success in comparison to maybe what he should have been able to find for the pros to be in an okay position. And while it's obviously not being the same as the last game, the core gameplay ideas are the same, where, again, the Zerg has defended well. The Protoss has taken damage they maybe shouldn't have taken in a normal situation, and now it's going to be very difficult for the Protoss player to survive the onslaught of Zerg as we are reaching 75 to 80 workers. We're going to start just building a ton of units. We're about to have Baneling speed so they can roll across the map as well with this, and it is just going to be all-out offense from Serral, while having the economy to also tack up just slightly behind it. Right now you see that Hive already building. As our Lings run in, they wrap around those few Adepts. Disruptor shot fires, but doesn't quite grab those units, as these Adepts will be going down. The Corrosive Files toward the Stalkers, they blink back again. We've got Baneling's going to start wandering through. The Banes taking quite a few hits right here, as the Stalkers are going to try and hold the position. Looks as though they will defend. I mean, I gotta say one thing to MaxPax is that when he is, against these smaller run buys that you're kind of meant to be able to defend with good reactions and so on, he's been absolutely on top of that. He has been on top of that without issue. As these Stalkers continue to retreat away down the right side. Lings continue to run through. Disruptors continue to run by. First Disruptor shot fires in. 2 Roaches drop. Stalkers fighting against these Zerglings. We will have just Roaches and Ravagers and Lings still peeling away around the right side here for a little while. I mean, the Disruptors can keep Serral from attacking, right? That's the sort of thing that can go very well for you. If you can just keep those Roaches and Ravagers back, you can definitely see some success. Press them out up to the top. Doesn't back down, just going to be seeing the +2 melee, the +2 missiles, adrenal glands, obviously all the things just coming from Serral. That's maybe not been as easy to get across the map as maybe was insinuating. The Disruptors obviously do cause that. It's not like Serral's been in, getting in a worse position. He's still in a great spot. He's got a bit of money banked up as well. He's got his tech in a better place than it has been, and adrenal glands kicking in is only going to make these Lings better against absolutely everything on the map, as Ling Bane currently runs down to the south. It's their Nexus, or 4th Nexus, build, and obviously you saw the 3rd cancelled repeatedly in this game. Feels like the 4th base might be getting the same treatment. Serral just doesn't want to let MaxPax get there. It's hard to attack into the Protoss here, because it's obviously just down a ramp. But that's fine, because all you have to do is get on top of the 4th, and then just sit here. Don't attack into the 3rd base, don't attack down the ramp initially. Bane's trying to come through, Disruptor shot fires, the Lings pull back again. A few more of the probes continue to get picked away. Banelings continue to roll through. We actually come from 2 sides with the Banelings. Then MaxPax is like, I don't want to see this. I don't want to watch my units die in a Baneling massacre. I'm not a fan of Baneling cuddles. And that's GG's, meaning that MaxPax is out of here. And that is going to be Serral taking game 3, essentially, of this series. Obviously, 2nd map played. But overall, he had a 1-game advantage. So game 3, let's call it. It's a 3-0 lead, and Serral, just like that, is on match and tournament point. A difference in this match of $700 versus $400, I believe, by the way, for 1st versus 2nd. So $300 difference. And looks like Serral is just kind of waltzing onto the bank, ready to cash in that $700 1st place check. If they even send teams, is in the bottom right corner. Our blue Protoss is Psystorm's MaxPax. Taking on from Basilisk in the top left-hand side, the Red Zerg, none other than Serral. Grand Finals, yeah, this was the finals of the Basilisk tournament. Like I say, we casted the entirety of the event apart from the finals because it got moved back a day, and the Grand Finals was during one of my events I already had scheduled, so I said I'd cast the replays, and then the next few days of me casting went super long, so I didn't get a chance until basically just now. And thank you so much, by the way, for the raid. I assume that was Quanta, because I couldn't actually read your name initially in the Korean, but now you said it in the chat, I see the English one next to it. Thank you so much for the raid. I appreciate it, and welcome, everybody. Just as I've just been saying, kind of just some chill evening casting here today, so hope you're doing well. Welcome, and let's see what goes down in some games between Serral and MaxPax. A couple of kind of macro-ish openers so far, nothing really too wild. Even the Glaives build was only 3-gate Glaives, and into that Disruptor play, it's not necessarily designed to... Yeah, it's not necessarily designed to go out and, like, wham bam, knock you down, you know, kill you. Like, yeah, maybe it's still dangerous, you still have to respect it, but it's not like 4 gates of Glaives are coming at you, they ain't stopping, they're fired up and everything, you know. It's not like that in the slightest. Not in the slightest. I have a Skype notification, guys, which scares me because it's either a player telling me that some tournament schedule is bad for them, or it's my parents. Turns out it's my parents, and that ain't so bad. Wardy Dad's still on the Skype train. It's like, it's one or the other. Which is worse. Definitely of the players. Definitely the players. I actually don't fear my parents messaging me. 100% fear the a player being like, hey, I know you gave me the schedule 4 days ago, and the matches are now in like less than 2 days' time, but I can't play it on either day. Can you fix it? And I'm like, no, that's actually impossible. And they're like, are you sure? You know? Yo, Vara, thank you so much for gifting a sub to MaxPax. Not the real MaxPax, but a MaxPax. Thank you so much as our depth comes through and hits a couple of shots on a drone, a couple of shots on a ling. We do see our Stargate just finishing up in the main base. Allow MaxPax to play kind of back towards that Oracle style. I would be surprised if it was anything too different from that. Well, MaxPax is a bit of a creative player. When he opens Stargate in PvZ, he oftentimes really does just stick to Oracles, and he's doing it because he wants to see that mid game. If he wants to be tricksy, he usually does that with the Twilight Council. The Oracles usually mean, like, let's play a more standard game, get me into a good position. That's where I want to be playing from, you know, playing from a lot of the time. Do you have a couple lings then going across the map? Obviously, Serral trying to pick up some information still, as the couple of adepts will wander forward and still just try and find some entry points here, see if they can find a way in, get some damage done. So far, it seems like no canceling those shades. And yeah, Nexus just building on the side of MaxPax. So just getting that up and rolling as well. Oracle around the top, heading toward the main base, as we do see the couple of adepts ready to shade in as well. Just going to cancel. Not commit through too heavily. And that Queen's is going to come around and, again, deflect Oracles out, basically. Just keep the Oracles at bay. Good defense again, right? Just got to commend it time upon time. Serral, it's so rare you see Serral just taking that unnecessary early game damage. And it's just terrifying when you play against Zergs that can just minimize early game damage like this so consistently. Like, every top level Zerg can have games where they don't take drone damage, or they take like 1 or 2 drone losses and that's it. You know, because a couple of adepts and whatever. It's the consistency that players like Serral and Reyna will manage to do this with that really sets them apart, right? You know? And there's a lot of very good Protoss players, MaxPax being one of them, that have figured the best possible ways to make Zergs make mistakes on their defense, to try and give them that edge in the early game by giving them a couple of extra kills, by getting a couple of extra drone picks. Yeah, Serral just, so far in this match, is just absolutely resilient. He is wearing a, I don't know, 2-inch thick set of armor or something. I don't know. How thick is a set of armor usually? Maybe it's just triple plated. I don't know. You guys pick the words. Whatever it is probably applies here. His defense has been very, very good. As a couple of gateways go down over in the main base, Oracles into the center. We'll maybe try and grab a couple of creep tumors or something. Our blink coming up, our +1 attack coming up. And these Oracles just activating through for a couple of drones. And then move towards the main base. That's nice. You get a couple of drones on the edge. And we're going to get 1, 2 more maybe here. 1, 2. That should have been 3 because the way it works, obviously, when you get the... when he dove back in for the second one, he only hit it with 1. So he probably would have had... You know, he had the commitment to get 3. It was unfortunate we only see 2 instead. Legendary armor, yeah. Serral's armor just has like legendary status. There you go. It's an orange. He isn't wearing these greens and blues that you find in your early dungeons. Roaches continue to build, +1 missiles, roach speed all coming out. We do have extra drones still in production as well. Just bringing those through, and yeah, the infestation pit also on the way up from Serral at the moment. So bringing that infestation pit up and running and online. Stalkers into the middle, and obviously we haven't really talked much about the follow-up of MaxPax, of maybe been swooning over Serral. I'm sure when this goes on YouTube, the YouTube comments will tell me that I'm such a Serral fanboy, and it's painful to listen to. But yeah, obviously on MaxPax's side, he is going into Blink, and he is going into the 1-1 upgrades, so heading straight into, you know, just again upgrades, Blink, ready for the mid-game, hoping to put some pressure on with these Stalkers that can allow him to then maybe, you know, actually do something else moving into the later stages as well, you would hope. Yes, we'll see what happens as a Baneling Nest goes down, the Hydra Den is down, Hive is on the way, so it looks like Serral's going for a different approach here as well. He's not getting a melee upgrade super early or anything, and he's maybe just gonna, I mean, he might switch in towards kind of Lingbane Hydra, Lingbane Lurker maybe, but yeah, it's a little bit slower getting there. This time it's a bit more Roach focused on the defense initially. Obviously as the Hydra Den finishes, my eyes really are just on the Hive and whether we see a Lurker Den. Yep, so we're going to see the Lurker Den Hive combo, which means we're going into those Lurkers and just a very different way for Serral to set up. And this will probably force MaxPax's hand, because once a decent amount of Lurkers start hitting the field, there's so few ways to effectively deal with that as a Protoss. And one of the main ways to deal with it is to just slow the game down a whole bunch. By slowing the game down, you put yourself into a position where you can basically play against, you know, be in a favorable position, because Lurkers shouldn't trade well if you get up to, say, carriers. But I don't imagine MaxPax is going to stay super hyper-offensive, which is typically what he, you know, sets out trying to do a lot of the time. Stalkers and a couple of Oracles move into the middle of the map. They're going to come around, and we do have everything from Serral still just sort of up the ramp there, sitting and waiting, and we're waiting to see what's going to happen in the next few moments as our feelings will continue forward. Ravagers and Roaches are just going to come through, and like I say, the Stalkers should be able to just blink out of trouble here for the most part. They kind of stop the trade, lose a couple. I'm not sure if they had cooldown immediately. Could be the case, as you see our Roaches catching a few Zealots over on this left side, so that run by MaxPax shut down as well. It feels like there's really, and maybe I've just been a little bit on the Serral hype train, but I really feel like there's not been any sort of moment where I'm like, yeah, let's go MaxPax, we're doing it, you know, this is looking good for you. I mean, maybe those Oracles did get in, they found the 4 extra drones, and, you know, that was decent to get a bit more done, but other than that, I struggle to think of what's really been great for MaxPax, not just in this game, but in this series in general. Trading here is reasonable. Obviously, the Stalkers get efficient trades. They can back away quite easily without having to actually lose any of their numbers, so you're only really losing Zealots, but resources lost tells you it's actually not been great for MaxPax. 2.8k to 4.2k. And yeah, MaxPax has a ton of economy, a ton of workers, but I wouldn't say it's so much so that you'd actually be like super super okay with trading how he has it. It's not like Serral's on no economy, right? It's not like Serral's on like Swarmhorse levels of economy or something. Lurkers do burrow up. I mean, finally MaxPax is, I've almost summoned it, actually having some success. 10 drones, 12 drones going down, gets the forward hatchery as well, so no 5th base from Serral either. And that is going to really put a dent in Serral's game plan for a little bit. Although, I guess maybe not a dent, more of just a sort of, you know, he pops the tire and Serral has to stop to change it, because Serral's going to end up slowed down here, but he's already set up in what he wants to be doing. Slowing down can be a good thing for MaxPax, though. Like I said, attack of carriers and air units is generally going to be traded very well against Lurkers if you can get there. So if you can slow Serral's offense with these Lurkers, etc., and start getting to a reasonable carrier count, you can perhaps end up in an okay position out of all of this as MaxPax. Flings and Lurkers make their way down the bottom right. This is awkward because MaxPax was out in the center, so he's actually going to have to fight back into his own base. The Lings go in, Zealots will warp in. We instantly start to get on top of some of that stack defense. Some Roach Ravager on the top. Need to be careful because that could get outmasked, and actually maybe the Protoss will do very well turning and chasing that, which is exactly what MaxPax decides to do. You still have the issue of all these Lurkers on this bottom side. And Serral is going to bounce back. You take a base of mine, I'm going to take a base of yours. It looks like that base of MaxPax truly is just fully abandoned at this stage. And we're likely going to be seeing the game number 4 continue into Serral's favor. Because if this base goes down, it's not end of the world for MaxPax. You can see his supply is kind of struggling along, and yes, he's on his way to carriers, but now Serral already finishing up the Spire. Feels as though he's already fully in control of where this game is going. He's got the, maybe not full money to spend on Corruptors just yet. He can only afford 6 right now, but the idea is there, and he's not against a terrifying carrier count just yet either. So, again, feel like Serral is just heading in all of the right directions, and MaxPax is unfortunately just a little bit stuck off of, again, maybe not quite the most pristine of openings that he wanted, maybe not finding enough, man. Serral even has contaminates going down, slow down carrier production, which is already pretty slow to get going. This base, by the way, like, yeah, it did go down. I'm impressed there's a robo facility still there. I guess at the end it became a bit more of a struggle to get the kill on this base because the lurkers kind of go up against those carriers and they weren't all immediately in range. This time going to be a lot more aggressive with the carrier lurker positioning, but as the revelation is on these lurkers, they back it up, seeing the carriers starting to move forward. And again, Serral is poised with 2 armies. The lurkers on the bottom, the rest in the center. He's got the Corruptors here as well. If he sees enough of a chance to dive on some carriers, he will. And honestly, there's not that much anti-air to protect the carriers from Corruptors. Usually we're talking Archons, maybe some Storms. None of that really exists at all. So the carriers will more or less be protecting themselves outside of the very low Stalker count that remains. 7 currently on the map. And that's definitely going to be intriguing. There's 4 Archons being morphed in actually as I address the issues, so MaxPax is going to do something about that, recognizing that, hey, if this corruptor count gets kind of high, this is going to end up being pretty gosh darn bad for me. So, yeah, respecting that a little bit. As we do see the army making its way over into the center, plus 2 weapons. Already on the way out, plus 3 attack on the Forge coming up as well. There's a good chunk of spores in the center. Our oracles will drop down some revelations here. As Corruptors will be. And according to those revelations, Lings and Roaches in the top right will get rid of a Zealot, and just seeing the Stalker Archon carrier force moving into the center of the map. Lings and Roaches gonna go pushing into the upper right hand side as well, as the Corruptors continue to gather over on the left. So let's keep him busy. So it's the Stalkers firing up on those Roaches. The army of MaxPax coming now back over this left-hand side. A few probes going down. Stalkers will blink on top. Roaches getting denied. We'll have our Lurkers going to unburrow and reburrow. Disruptor shot fires through. Going in between these Lurkers. And again, well, Abduct actually sneaking down as well. So just seeing kind of a bit of a standoff for the moment here where, you know, neither player can really break the other. Serral's recognizing yet Lurkers aren't really going to break thin anymore. He's setting up a Greater Spire, Ultra Cavern. These things actually are going to be better at breaking positions. Obviously on a massive amount of carriers, but Serral has a lot of static defense too, so it's not going to be super easy for MaxPax to run into these positions, but boy, is he going to give it a go apparently. He abducts 1 carrier forward. That's just going to be a freebie. Thank you very much for coming into abduct range. Or, well, not having a high template to stop the abduct, I guess, more than anything. Oh, that Archon got a splash and a half on those Corruptors. My goodness, those Corruptors really took a beating. Ouch. The Zealots continue to warp into the main. Serral's had reasonable defense against these so far. I don't really see any reason why that's going to suddenly change, especially as Zealots move command past Queens on the ramp. I guess MaxPax is just trying to keep some attention away from the main portion of the army. He is maybe going to get +2 carapace. Some transfusions are going to say no, though, and these Zealots are not going to be given the love they deserve. Just nothing came of those, and okay, it's minerals, and you can kind of burn through some amount of minerals here as MaxPax, but I will recall you guys to the Resources Lost tab. 19,500 to 14,000 in favor of Serral. A Zerg almost never trades better than a Protoss player. Right? Like, the efficiency in this game is on its head from what it would usually be expected to be, and that really benefits Serral and really puts more pressure on MaxPax, because these units that you might usually feel like you can throw away is 100% not going to be the case anymore. Carries come back through, and we do have the Corruptors a little bit on the hunt right now, just seeing if there's anything in particular they can get up to. Mothership is out as well, maybe trying to set up some potential fun recall action to reposition this army of MaxPax. Obviously with the Mothership, you can recall the army one place, then get out safely with the Nexus recall after as well, so that's definitely a it's definitely one way to potentially expect things to be going. Gonna get a Nexus up in the top right corner as well, so just get all of that online for the moment. Obviously, base after base being taken by MaxPax. That's one thing to note. He is expanding faster than Serral, which kind of allows him to then have traded as badly as he has done. I just don't see him getting away with that forever, and I don't see him out-mining Serral eventually. So this efficiency, you know, the story of the efficiency has to change at some point. Now, the Disruptor shot was a great start, and Infester and some Lurkers getting caught up in it. These Fungals are nice, and can we actually kill anything on the tail end? Yes, we can. The Archon went down. The Disruptor is just going to get out alive on low HP. Corruptors back to the upper left. We do see 3 more Infestors on the way out, plus 2 Flyer Attack, Flyer Carapace, plus 3 regular ground Carapace also being produced here. As our Lings get us around on a couple of different Zealots. The rest of these Zealots coming in, and they're going to slice and dice their way through. A whole chunk of Zerglings there as Lurkers burrow up. Zealots get nuked. We will just be having the army here of MaxPax actually progressing over to the left-hand side. Corruptors showing up to the north, and they will be able to catch the Mothership. So the Mothership getting forced to recall away there as well. You know, Corruptors continuing through and just seeing our, well, carriers all getting nuked down. This is a good fight for Serral, who just basically gets rid of so much of the tech of MaxPax, and MaxPax supply plummets. Okay, Serral has to rebuild 12 Corruptors and 2 Vipers, but he's instantly remaxed. Meanwhile, MaxPax starts 4 carriers, and he's still 30 supply away from being maxed. He is building more cannons, going to make it difficult for Serral to counterattack and take advantage of this, but I'm definitely all, you know, all momentum behind Serral in this game number 4, because it just still doesn't look to me as though MaxPax can really do anything. We're going to catch this Mothership a little bit late with these Corruptors, so we recall the carriers into the main. I'm not sure if we even love that much, if we just have the Corruptors all showing up together here. Is that really that great? Storm goes down, and okay, this wasn't a good trade, right? This Mothership was literally like, hey, how can I be even worse than minus 400, minus 400? What if I bring the rest of the army with me? This Mothership went from minus 400 to like minus 4k, minus 4k. Add a 0 on those 400s, guys, because this Mothership was on a mission to be the worst Mothership of all time. Yeah. That's a YouTube title right there. Worst Mothership ever. Jesus, that was horrible. As, yeah, now MaxPax is absolutely in a tough spot, because I don't know what he starts doing to turn this around. This is genuinely going to be very tough for him, as Lurkers are going to try and fire up a little bit of a storm. We see that Assimilator going to get picked off. Probe taking some shots. We do see the Zealots pulling around. Lings and Banes are going to go after a chunk of these Zealots. I mean, Lurkers just going after. I mean, these are the bases which MaxPax took earlier than Serral, and well, the fact he's not holding on to them, I think, sort of says a lot about how this game has gone. Resources lost. 13k difference in favor of the Zerg. That's not meant to happen, guys. That is not your normal everyday PvZ resources lost tab, graph, whatever. Like, seriously, what a wild time we're having over here as a little bit more Ling Bane gets going. We do have Tempest reducing from MaxPax, so you can maybe slowly chip through some of these positions of Serral, but again, this is just, in my eyes, Serral showing some utter dominance at the moment. As MaxPax well, has a Nexus on the top. You see a couple more Nexus, obviously 2 more Nexus currently being built, and Lings and Lurkers coming through. Gonna knock a Nexus down on the bottom side. Gonna go diving up here. The Lurkers will burrow. Zealot's already taking a lot of damage. Shield Battery, Super Battery will go down as well. The Tempests are still firing away and putting a lot of work in. As our Lurkers are gonna go through and nuke down again this Nexus in the next couple of moments. It will indeed fall. So the Nexus drops. We have Tempests, Archons, and High Templars gonna make their way back around the right side. Our army still hanging around to the left. We do have 4 more Archons that are about to take to the stage. These 4 Archons about to complete and allow us you as MaxPax to have a bit more splash on the ground. If only you had a way to take a good fight. And actually, to be honest as well, Archons are in a weird place because the Archons actually aren't particularly good against Lurkers because they have to really run into Lurker range in a big way to be able to reach anything. So the Lurkers are going to be pretty darn good against the Archons too, which is, again, at this stage, maybe not expected to be as big of a part of the army as it is being, but, you know, the Lurkers still are here from Serral. He is building more Corruptors again now. 7k, 4k banked up. Resources ready to fly at a moment's notice, should reproduction be necessary. Around the top we go. Some of these spores already dropping our mothership. Going to have to help lead this charge forward. Corruptors and Infestors coming through. We're going to drop a Fungal Growth. The High Templar and the Archon getting caught there. A couple more Tempests getting caught up as well. Entire army itself just sat up to the top side. There is a Disruptor shot. Boom! For 3 Infestors. Thank you very much. We will take those. Okay, MaxPax finally something going his way, even if it's just for a moment. And we'll try and knock down this base as, you know, Serral's been very slow about taking his base. It's not that he needed to go much faster than he has done. Just very controlled. And if you can maybe then at this point stand up as MaxPax and say, no, you never get this base, maybe that is how you make this game turn out okay for you. If you can really tell Serral you're not allowed to have that base, I will say that there's then maybe some kind of possibility, some realistic way you can still win this. But you have to stop him from taking bases as Fungal Growths go down, and that doesn't look too pretty for MaxPax, although we do have the Corruptors unable to get forward because of the Archons. Fungal Growth again, though, man, those Tempests are all low all together, and we are going to see the Tempests at some point just want to go through and get on top of them. The Archon count's getting lower and less of scary, so maybe these Corruptors are going to have the chance in a moment or two. Going to grab one of them there as the regeneration stage has begun on those shields. A lot of the Archons are low too, so you got to be careful as the Brutals try and chase. Fortunately, the Tempest is still alive. The army control from MaxPax pretty decent considering, and definitely getting a reasonable amount out of this compared to maybe what initially we expected. "32 Zerglings, 4 Broodlords, 5 Corruptors, all being brought in at the moment as we have 4 carriers producing from MaxPax. Our Broods and our Corruptors moving into the center. Serral just holding his ground, still has money in the bank. Not too much gas, only 2k gas, right? Is maybe not the craziest. Some probes go long distance mining and are met with Zerglings. Don't think that was just a full sacrifice of probes, because if it was, why not just send it into the... I mean, maybe it is. You just long distance mine and you expect to lose them. And he doesn't rebuild the probes, but it's not like you need to clear out supply. So, yeah, I guess just long distance mines and mining, you know, not going well for him as 2 carriers trying to recall get taken out. The Corrupt account perfect for those one-shots. Wow. Another nail in the coffin for MaxPax, man. He is locked in tight. But, like, Serral hasn't quite plugged all the air holes yet, so MaxPax still kind of breathing, but not for long. Realistically, like, really not for long at this stage, as Fungal Growth will go down. The Broodlords are going to fire, and the Archon's taking some heavy hits. We're going to even Neural Parasite some of these Archons, and they are going to turn onto the Protoss army, and MaxPax is going to tap out. GG. Serral will take, well, a very convincing series. Talk about coming into this and just being very confident, very comfortable, and just putting it all on display, because Yeah, he absolutely just came in here, Serral, and just rocked this series. It was not a contest, it was not a competition, and he showed it in, across a bunch of different games, defending against Oracle play into, defending against Oracle play into counterattacks and just macro. Defending Adepts and Disruptors into, killing your opponent too and denying that fourth base. And in this game, just a longer macro-focused game as well. Serral 4-0, and he wins the Basilisk 25th Anniversary Special Edition of the Big Brain Bouts.